Live from the tank on the campus of the College of Staten Island, CSI Sportsnet welcomes you into coverage of NCAA Division II women's basketball, streaming exclusively on Flow College. In our first broadcast of 2026, the College of Staten Island takes on Assumption University in non-conference play. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Nicholas Pavona, alongside my broadcast partner, Joe Foreman, and this is the McDonald's pregame show. McDonald's is our scoreboard sponsor here at the College of Staten Island, and they bring you pregame coverage ahead of every CSI Dolphins home game. And Joe, the women's basketball team opens the new year on a nice winning streak. It all started back at UDC in a game that you covered back on December 13th. Then it continued with a thrilling victory here against American International College in our last women's basketball broadcast. And then in their last game, nearly just 2 weeks ago, they knocked off Pace University for their third straight win. How has this team been able to turn things around their last couple of games?
Well, Nick, when you look at what this team has done as a unit, you see a significant improvement in their shooting. Nearly 44% during the last 3 games, 7% above their current mark for the season. During the same 3-game stretch, they also have not allowed an opponent to shoot over 40% from the field. And looking at a couple of individual standouts as well, Raki Kane has averaged over 17 points per game in her last 2 outings. She's now 4 games back since her return from injury. Including the thrilling win against AIC, where she had that tip-in, Kane has been very strong as of late. Kyra Rose has also averaged 15 points per game in the 3 wins, shooting nearly 50% from the field and 15 of 22 from the free throw line. With a return to conference play looming later this week, this Dolphins team seems to have figured things out at the right time.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it, Joe. It's probably the best time for the Dolphins to do that, with conference play especially looming around the horizon. This Dolphins team has one more non-conference play game before they go back into conference matchup. And we mentioned it at the time, but American International was a team that came into the tank playing extremely well in the season. That victory was a quality win for this Dolphins squad, and they are once again faced with a tall task today as they face a Greyhounds team that's coming in 8-1 in the season. They own a victory over a ranked Holy Family team, and they haven't lost a game, Joe, since November 23rd. So that game was against the AIC team, the aforementioned, that we just spoke about a few moments ago.
Yeah, and looking down the stat sheet for this Assumption University team, the individual numbers don't leap off the page. But when you look at what this team has done defensively this season, it's clear why they have won 8 of their first 9 games. They've held opponents to under 32% shooting and sub 25% from beyond the arc. They've also been a +4 on the glass and get to the line nearly 15 times per game. Tegan Curran leads the way with 15 points per game, over 10 points per game above her career average through 3 seasons. And coming off the bench, Emily Collins is the only other Greyhound averaging double figures. This is a team that has shot around 39% from the floor this year as a unit. They win on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, and you look at those numbers, Joe, and it's been a really strong year for this Assumption team. And you mentioned the improved shooting for the Dolphins during this winning streak as well. And when you break down the individual shooting numbers for this team, you have 3 players that have been incredibly efficient for this squad this year. You already mentioned the recent play of reigning ECC Player of the Week, Raki Kane and Kyra Rose, but both of whom were shooting at least 49% from the field. However, Shania Edmonds has also shot the ball extremely well this year, and she joins both Kane and Rose, averaging double figures on the season.
Well, that trio of Kane, Rose, and Edmonds account for half of the top 6 in the ECC in shooting percentage coming into the day. And it's hard to believe that with 3 players shooting the ball that well, this Dolphins team is shooting just 37% from the floor. There is just one other Dolphin shooting over 30% on the year, and that's another player I wanted to highlight in Stitchie Barnes. Barnes is the reigning ECC Rookie of the Week and has scored 10 or more 5 times during her first season as a Dolphin thus far. She's also capable of getting to the free throw line plenty and joins the trio we just mentioned in averaging 6 rebounds or more per game this season. Simply put, this Dolphins team has done most of their scoring in the paint and at the free throw line, but if they continue to play the kind of defense that we've seen from them during this win streak, that might be enough to make another postseason push later this year.
And this, of course, Joe, it's a team that's coming off an ECC championship appearance last year, so they would certainly love to make another run towards the championship game. And, of course, win that championship game as well. And you mentioned the play of Stitchy Barnes. We're going to see a lot of Stitchy Barnes when we come back from this break, because we're going to take a look back at our most recent broadcast here at the Tank, that being that matchup that we mentioned, that thrilling buzzer beater win over America International. Once Joe and I come back, we'll break down that game and look ahead of this game, national anthem and starting lineups to come, as we'll be right back with the McDonald's pregame show after this break.
No, I'm right. The podcast that uncovers the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Nick Durst here along with Joe Calabrese.
Here we are, 200 episodes later, about 150 episodes with guests, our friends, soon to be your friends.
Well, it's pretty clear, Joe, that it's all about You Know I'm Right, the podcast. That's my You Know I'm Right moment. Wanted to do a podcast, and everyone was like, what are you, crazy? Who's going to listen? You're not going to get guests. Well, guess what? I'm the best when it comes to getting guests. You could vouch for that.
I am so happy that you asked me to do this. I couldn't have been more thrilled. And follow us on socials, check us out. I promise you, if you want to work in media, whether you work in media now, whether you want to quit your job and work in media, come to us, and I promise you, we will get you on the right foot.
That's what it's all about, uncovering the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Keep it locked on You Know I'm Right.
At Team Impact, we pair kids who have been sidelined by serious illness and disability with college teams from across the country.
What's up, big man? You good?
It's more than a single-day meet and greet or photo opportunity. Our program places kids on a multi-year journey, becoming true members of a collegiate athletics team.
We are
Penn State.
From signing day to game day.
I can't describe it. It feels amazing.
Team Impact. All in, all together.
Nicholas Pavona and Joe Foreman welcome you back from the College of Staten Island. We welcome you back into the McDonald's pregame show. And Joe, it's really hard to believe that the win over America International was nearly 3 weeks ago. The Dolphins have played just one game since, and that was the game that we mentioned earlier on, the road win at Pace. And looking back to that last Dolphins home game against the Yellow Jackets, we have what was certainly a Game of the Year candidate at this point of the season. This game started off with Racky Kane, ended with Kane, but Kane starts it off with that post-move score.
Good work there by Kane in the low post, and you get a look here at some good defensive work by another Dolphin. Kyra Rose with the steal, gets out in transition, and converts the lay-in.
Nice job by Rose converting defense into offense, and then we'll see a little bit more. Racky Kane gets the outlook pass, knocks down the jumper.
So nice, we'll show it twice, this time from the elbow.
And we'll see Stitchy Barnes right here, who you mentioned earlier on with a big game, gets the and one to fall.
And that's not the only and one she had in this game. You won't have to wait much longer to see another. Absorbs the contact and finishes once again.
Barnes put up a highlight reel in this game. You'll see right here, gets the pass down low and gets the lay-in.
Strong finish there by Barnes after a bit of an awkward catch. This time it is Rose to the basket. She absorbs the contact, draws the foul, and finishes.
We mentioned also the great play of Shunye Emmons. She knocks down the long range, too.
And let's step back a few feet further here as the Dolphins work it around the outside, eventually finding Juliana Ditto in the corner.
And you mentioned it's so nice. We'll see it twice. Another jump shot for Edmonds right there.
Edmonds dangerous from the mid-range, dangerous inside. And speaking of dangerous inside, Kyra Rose with another and one.
And you mentioned how dangerous she is on the inside. She misses the initial shot, gets the offensive rebound, and gets the putback.
And this basket, arguably as important as the game winner for the Dolphins. They had a chance to go 2 for 1, and they do convert on that 2 for 1 opportunity. Another strong finish by Stitchy Barnes.
Great move by Barnes right there. Then the aforementioned game winner, Dolphins passing the ball around. You'll see at the very end, Edmonds puts up the shot, falls off the front rim, and Racky Kane with one hand gets the tip in about, I think, Joe, around 0.2 or 0.1 second were left on the clock when that ball got off of her hand just in the nick of time, no pun intended, as the Dolphins pull off an incredible win, winning at the buzzer in that matchup against the Yellow Jackets. And as we mentioned, they've now won 3 in a row coming into the night's matchup with the Greyhounds. What do they need to do effectively in this game to make it 4 in a row before they head into a matchup with Post on Tuesday?
Well, I think I spoke to much of it a bit earlier, Nick. This team needs to continue to defend the way that we've seen them defend now for the last 3 games, holding all of their opponents under 40% shooting, a good number. Shooting it much better themselves, of course, is part of the equation and coming away with a win as well. But I think this Greyhounds team presents a great challenge for the Dolphins in terms of what can CSI accomplish against this team when the Dolphins possess the ball at the offensive end. This Greyhounds team has held opponents to very poor shooting from downtown. The Dolphins, not typically a team that relies very much on the three-pointer. Can the Greyhounds keep CSI out of the paint? Can the Dolphins get to the free throw line? Can they finish at the rim? Those are questions that need to be answered with a resounding yes if the Dolphins are going to knock off a team that has won 8 of their first 9 games.
And those questions will be answered in just a few short moments, Joe. About 30 seconds to go before the national anthem and the introduction of today's starting lineup. So what you and I will do is we'll take one final break before the national anthem and the introduction of starting lineups. I have those starting lineups, and I'll bring you those lineups once we come back from our final break. It's the Dolphins and the Greyhounds right here on Flow College. This has been the McDonald's pregame show.
We've learned a lot from him, and we've probably learned more from him than he's learned from us.
I think they're a real important part in my life. I can't describe it. It feels amazing.
Team Impact is a national nonprofit that connects kids living with serious and chronic illness with college athletic teams, forming lifelong bonds and life-changing outcomes.
Give me a break it! Break it! Can I have a hug?
What's your favorite subject?
Math.
When you spread the word about Team Impact, you have the power to change lives.
Nicholas Pavona and Joe Foreman rejoining you back for today's coverage of the Greyhounds and the Dolphins. And Joe, before we went to commercial break, I did have the starting lineups, and I will bring you those starting lineups before tip-off of today's contest between the Greyhounds and the Dolphins. First for the Greyhounds, number 4, Ty Davis. Number 15, Laura Johnson-Shed. Number 21, Tegan Curran. Number 22, Maeve Moriarty. And number 24, Tegan Cam. For the Dolphins, same lineup as usual for them. Number 1, Stitchy Barnes. Number 3, Shunye Edmonds. Number 4, Kyra Rose. Number 5, Raki Kane. And number 10, Dana Phelan, rounding out the CSI lineup today.
Well, this Dolphins team is a team that as we mentioned, comes in on a 3-game winning streak, comes in with a quality win over American International a couple of games back, took care of business in conference against UDC. Good road win at Pace as well, and I think part of what makes this matchup so intriguing, Nick, is something that you mentioned earlier. The last and only loss for this Greyhounds team came against the AIC team that the Dolphins knocked off last time they played here on their home floor.
A lot of familiar opponents for these two teams as well this season, Joe, and I think that's something to also be noted in this matchup. Of course, this Assumption team we mentioned earlier beating a Holy Family team that is ranked nationally on the season, a team that the Dolphins have seen as well this year. So we'll see how everything unfolds today as the Dolphins win the early tip-off, and we're underway here at the tank between CSI and Assumption University. This is Stitchy Barnes with the ball. Hands it off to Kyra Rose, so now we'll hand it off to Shunye Edmonds. Edmonds back out to Barnes. Barnes on the drive, takes the contact, passes it back out to Edmonds for 2, and knocks it through.
Well, you could see early in that possession, Nick, the Greyhounds really not giving up much space. Edmonds able to find some right at the free throw line.
And, Joe, how many times have we seen this season her taking advantage of those jump shots? As that layup was missed, offensive rebound also missed. A third opportunity here for the Greyhounds as the three-pointer is missed right there from Curran. This is Rose now on the drive. Passes it off the hands of Edmonds, now out to Barnes. Barnes once again on the drive, takes the contact, and cannot get it to fall rebounded by Davis. Davis is passing up the court. Up and under right there, misses. Offensive rebound as well for Shed, and it's going to be Cam on the second chance opportunity right there for the Greyhounds.
Well, Nick, you can see it, an early concern for the Dolphins. The Greyhounds crashing the offensive boards already. Plenty of second opportunities.
And if you look at the the lineup as well, Joe, you look at the height of some of these players on the Greyhounds, a couple of 6-footers on this team, so the Dolphins have to contend with that size in this game. Failing out to Barnes. Barnes out to Edmonds. She'll shoot a long 3 off the mark. Or excuse me, that was Kane that shot that 3. It was rebounded right there by Davis. Kane on the defensive play, almost forced the turnover. Kept in by the Greyhounds. This is Curran inside right there, and a perfect pass. She finds Cam underneath.
Well, that's a really nice feed inside. Nothing you can do defensively there if you're Stitchy Barnes.
Mismatch right there for the Dolphins, and the height could be a factor in this game as it goes on. It's already been a factor in the first few minutes. This is Edmonds on another long range 2, as she knocks it through.
Well, I mentioned that during the pregame. Edmonds a player who can do a lot of damage from the mid-range. You force defenders to step out, then she can beat you to the basket.
Shed dribbled that one off of her foot. Dolphins get a turnover right there. This is Kane with the ball. Looking back out to Barnes. Barnes started at the 3. Gets the screen from Kane. Dolphins will wait it out. This is now Rose with the ball. Passes it out to Kane. 8 to go on the shot clock. Now out to Edmonds. Edmonds to Barnes. Barnes will shoot a 3. Way off the mark, out of bounds. It will go to the Greyhounds.
Well, I said it not too long ago, Nick. This Dolphins team, not a team that typically knocks down too many threes, and you can see the Greyhounds really playing aggressive defense inside the arc, giving the Dolphins a bit of room beyond it.
This is Kira now with the ball, passes it inside, and Cam gets fouled right there by Edmonds. She'll go to the free throw line.
And you mentioned keys to the Dolphins winning this game before, and I highlighted some of the things CSI needs to look to do. But offensively, I think the space that they create inside the arc is going to be key. Can they get some openings for those mid-range jump shots? Can they get to the rim? Can they get to the free throw line? Edmonds off to a nice start from the mid-range in this game.
Talking about space, you saw the Edmonds creating the space on that jump shot. That's Cam right there. Goes 1 for 2 for the free throw line. Greyhounds now with a 5-4 lead. Under 3 minutes or in this first quarter that have gone by so far. This is Kane now with the ball. Thought about going to the inside to Edmonds. Passes it out to Rose. Rose on the drive. Will go to the free throw line. She's fouled.
Just as I said, Nick, if you're the Dolphins, that's where you can gain an edge in this game. The Greyhounds are a team that gets to the line quite a bit. I mentioned 15 free throws per game for them coming in. But this Dolphins team is at their best when they get to the line as well. They average about 11 attempts per game from the stripe. They allow less than 10.
Rose misses the front end of the 2 free throws. And Rose has by far been the one that's been getting to the free throw line the most of this season, Joe, as well.
Yeah, and we've mentioned the need for her to improve at the line, and she had done that through the last 3 games, shooting around 68% from the stripe.
Does knock down the second back. Game is once again tied at 5. This is Cam, passes it out to Davis. Davis trying to get it back to Cam, but the Dolphins force a turnover. Kyra Rose on the drive, looking for somewhere to go. Thought about going up, might have been stolen away. Here comes the Greyhounds once again. This is Shed up with the 2, and she lays it through.
That's a nice job to convert off the Dolphins' giveaway by assumption, and you have to think they had Rose well scouted, finishes well in transition. They gave her no room, effectively left Barnes wide open.
Edmonds another long range 2, off the mark. Ball loose, Edmonds comes up with it and then loses it, and it's turned over, forced by Moriarty. She now has the ball, looks on the inside to Cam. Cam just barely keeps it in. They once again go to the inside as they were looking for Moriarty, but it was tipped out of bounds, remains with the Greyhounds.
Well, you could see it on that last Phelan drive. Immediately, the Greyhounds collapsed defensively. Edmonds had the opening, couldn't knock down that shot, but those are the openings you'll have to create if you're the Dolphins offensively.
And you could also see it on the defensive side. Right now, the Greyhounds are forcing everything right now inside of the paint, and they've won that battle so far in the early stages of this game. This is Kieran with the ball, passes it to Cam. Cam passes it out to Hanrahan. Hanrahan looking, passes it out. Once again, this is Kieran. She'll take a long-range 3 off the mark and rebounded by Edmonds. Dolphins looking to push. Here comes Phelan with the ball. Passes it out to Barnes. Barnes able to hold on to that one and lays it through.
We've said it time and time again, Nick. Stitchy Barnes, very impressive around the basket. Good body control. And when she gets moving downhill, she remains under control.
Very tough pass. She had a brain down on that one from Phelan and able to get the lay-in as well, facing that contact. Mid-range jumper right there from Cam knocks through, and it's back to a 2-point lead for Assumption. Early back and forth affairs so far between these two teams. This is Barnes with the ball. Looking for somewhere to go. She takes the drive. Tries to force it inside to Kane, but it gets tipped out of bounds. And that should lead to our first media timeout with 4:47 to go in this first quarter. And Joe, I think with time now here at the media timeout, I think it's imperative that we didn't really get to speak about this in our pregame coverage, but for those that may not know where you are currently broadcasting this game from, where are you currently located calling the action today?
I began my week in Orlando, made my way down to Winter Garden, and now I'm about 3 hours further south in Naples. So the first stretch of my trip was to go see WWE, hang out with our statistician Louis Matrone. The second stretch now, down here in Naples, visiting family. And tonight, I head to the Winter Classic at Lone Depot Park in Miami. I make my way back here for a couple of days, about a 2-hour drive, and I rejoin everybody back on Staten Island in time for Tuesday's doubleheader.
Certainly going to be a instant classic, if you want to call it that, for the Winter Classic tonight, hopefully, for you guys.
If it's anything like the last Stadium Series game, I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, I think the other good thing is that at least it's not as cold as it could be for a Winter Classic. What's the weather today compared to where we were on Tuesday?
I was in the 40s up in Winter Garden last time we were on the air. Down here in Naples, I would guess it's about 60.
Oh, okay.
Much nicer today than it was last night. It was freezing last night.
Well, I was a bit jealous of your surroundings today when I had to FaceTime you just to double-check our settings for today's game, but very jealous of your situation that you're handling today's broadcast from.
Well, I am poolside. There is power out here. It's a very nice setup, I have to admit. And, I hate to say this on the air, Nick, but it really, really motivates me.
I was going to say, I think I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, it really motivates me to get moving and get started on this side of living. But I'm here for the long haul.
You're here for the long haul. That is indeed the case, and we are here for the long haul of this game between the Dolphins and the Greyhounds. This is Phelan with the long-range pull-up jumper. Misses, and it's rebounded inside by Dalla. Dalla now has the ball. This is now Kieran. Kieran out to Hanrahan. Back out to Kieran. Kieran thought about the 3, passes it now. This is Moriarty. Moriarty Out to Dalla. Hanrahan for three. Off the mark, ball loose. Last touch right there. In the meantime, there's one camera.
And I'm back.
We apologize for that brief moment, folks. We're trying to fix our audio and camera issues right now at the current moment in time.
All right, Nick, I think we're back.
Believe we are back. I will have to fix the cameras in our next media timeout. Dolphins force a turnover right here. Here comes Phelan with the ball. Phelan to Kane. Kane to the inside to Rose. Rose tried to pass it out. They just barely get the pass. Now inside to Rose. And how about that find and feed from Barnes to Rose?
And look at the Greyhounds defensively. 4 Greyhounds surrounding the ball, no matter for Barnes and Rose.
A nice give and go and a good play all around for the Dolphins right here to get that opportunity. You'll see right here, Dolphins barely getting the pass out to Barnes. Barnes able to find Rose underneath, and they get the lay-in.
Yeah, and you can see the defensive game plan for Assumption. They are not giving the Dolphins any room inside the arc, content to let players stand off the ball well beyond it.
So right now, the issue I'm having, Joe, is one of the cameras on the court side went out as that last basket was made to put the Assumption back into a tie game. And once we have a break, I'll be able to try to fix that camera. It's the camera directly towards my right, the one we use for our halftime interviews. Rose tried to find Weesey, tipped out of bounds, remains with the Dolphins.
Looks like they may have had an opening on that possession as well. Weesey was standing in the corner, and not too far to her left was the open shooter, Gemma Singer.
This is Phelan once again with the ball. Spin move might have been blocked on that play, but the Dolphins will get the ball right back, Joe, as falling towards the court on the ground was Dalla. She got the turnover forced, but turned it over right back on that traveling.
That's a tough one as a player who, I don't know, do you call that a takeaway? Did Phelan get a shot off, or did she lose the ball?
I think she lost the ball. I wouldn't count that as a shot.
Let's see how good our statisticians
That one
are.
certainly is a shot, but it's an offensive foul called on Rose.
They gave it a shot, Nick.
Okay.
I would love to be a fly on the wall if I could see you go over there and correct them.
I don't know if I want to do that.
You have my backing. It's okay.
Well, it's safe to say, Joe, I did fix the camera, so we're all good now. Let's keep it that way for the rest of this game. Shot right there. It goes in and falls for Emily Collins. And once again, Assumption's out in front.
Between you and I, Nick, we have about a decade and a half of tenure now.
Yeah, just about.
Hard to believe it's been that long.
Crazy to think it's been that long for me, too. As Rose on a tough find cannot finish it, rebounded by Davis. Long right out there. Hanrahan will shoot the pull-up three. And it goes up and over the scoreboard, out of bounds, goes to the Dolphins now.
Yeah, you know, Nick, as our audience may or may not know, I'm on a 5-second delay with the video. So when you said up and over the scoreboard, I'm thinking to myself initially, wow, she put a lot on that shot.
It's a good, nice little bounce going the Dolphins' way, and the Dolphins now once again have the ball. Trying to tie this game before this first quarter ends. 1:25 to go in the quarter. Singer to Phelan. Phelan trying to make a move right here. Passes it back out to Kane. Kane thought about the long range two. Now takes it and makes it.
Those are the shots the Dolphins will have to have, and that's a really good fake off the catch by Kane. It freed her up, and sometimes when a defense collapses as much as Assumption has, that's all it takes to create the opening.
Kane and Edmonds have really been dangerous this season when they get those long-range two. And speaking of long-range twos, it's Emma Dalla getting that one to fall.
And during the pregame, Nick, we mentioned the efficiency of the trio of Edmonds, Rose, and Kane. That trio has accounted for 11 of the 13 Dolphins points.
Inside pass to Kane. Kane out to Singer for, it looks like a long-range two, and that's indeed the case.
And if Singer can give you those shots off the bench, that's a huge boost. And I mentioned the percentage of the scoring for the trio of Dolphins. On the other side, Cam has 7.
That one is a foul right there calling the Dolphins as Laura Johnson Shed will go to the free throw line with 31.5 to go in the quarter. Weesey calling the foul right there.
Yeah, I mentioned that Assumption gets to the line about 15 times per game. These will be free throws 3 and 4 in the opening quarter. There's some good ball movement by CSI to lead to that basket by Singer as well.
And they're going to need Singer in this game, Joe. As I mentioned to you during one of our breaks, the Dolphins do not have Juliana Ditto in the game today. She's out, so they will need someone on the outside from their bench to knock down those jumpers that Ditto has been knocking down this season. Second free throw miss. It was tipped by Singer and into the hands of Dalla, so second chance opportunity here for the Greyhounds. About a 9-second differential between the game clock and the shot clock. This is Davis with the ball. 7 to go on the clock. Davis looking to go somewhere. They got to take a shot with 2 seconds. I'm not sure the Greyhounds realize how much time there is. And Joe, there is no way that shot should have counted.
They counted that?
They counted that, Joe.
Oh, boy, that's terrible.
That might be the most egregious call I've seen. Failing for 3
Nick,
off the mark.
Nick, that's terrible.
An unusual way to end this first quarter.
Run that back in slow motion.
There is absolutely no way that shot should have counted.
I hate to do this, and I hate to come across sounding so biased, but on a play like that, we can't help it. And it would have been the same if the Dolphins were credited with that basket. That is really bad.
Look at the time, folks, at the top of your screen. He gets the ball with 1 second. Oh, my goodness.
All right, they had a 31-second shot clock, maybe 32.
Yeah, just about. Yeah, that might be more egregious than I've seen.
Yeah, that was rough. And
that
it was
was
obvious from the naked eye as well.
Yeah. Yeah, tough one for CSI. It's definitely a 1-point difference, and Nicole Sarcone, rightly so, is letting the officials know her displeasures after what happened at that end of the first quarter. Dolphins trail this game 18-15.
Yeah, and I know Coach Sarcone and the rest of our coaching staff will go back and watch this one later. Whether or not we are muted, I don't know. I guess probably muted, but that doesn't take away from them missing that one. It happens, but that was a bad one. That was a bad one.
Yeah, that was a really bad one. And looking at this game, Joe, despite that happening, it's been a nice back-and-forth game between these two teams. You look at the stats for that first quarter, the Greyhounds shooting just 50% from the field, so a very good start for them. Dolphins not to be outdone. They're shooting just 46.7%, so it's been what we've seen so far. It's been a nice back-and-forth matchup between these two teams.
Yeah, looking at what CSI had to do, if they could continue to shoot it efficiently, that would be a huge first step, but they need to limit Assumption and their shooting as well. They're at 50% from the field, and that won't get it done defensively.
Dolphins forcing a jump ball right there, and we'll go to CSI. And Joe, I'll say it now because, we had not a similar sequence happen in the men's game, but of course that play where the Dolphins went for the alley-oop, it went in the basket, and we said at the time, man, if those 2 points come back to bite the Ravens in that game, we'll see what happens. Dolphins hoping that those 2 points and that shot clock violation potentially hopefully doesn't hurt them at the very end of this game. Singer now with the ball, gets the screen from Kane, passes it out to Phelan. Phelan looking for somewhere to go, loses the ball for a second, still has it. Passes it to Edmonds. Edmonds to Kane. 3 on the shot clock. Edmonds looking for somewhere to go, and it falls off the rim, and it's rebounded right there by Olivia Found. Correction, that was Emily Collins.
You mentioned how important 2 points can be, Nick. The Dolphins have played a lot of close games.
And how about that? We see forcing the turnover. Dolphins almost gave it right back as Edmonds went up the court, wasn't looking towards the ball. Thankfully for CSI, they still have it. And once again, miscommunication, more miscommunication as Singer pulls up the 2, but it's no good and rebounded.
Well, I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is the first game back this year for both teams. First game since the start of the holiday recess. Looking like it just a bit.
The early miscues right there. Post move right there by Moriarty falls down. It's a 5-point lead for the Greyhounds.
Well, you can see Assumption clearly has an advantage around the basket, both on the glass and in the low post.
Assumption right now with 10 points inside of the paint in this game. That's accounted for half of the points so far. This is Kane with the drive, passes it to Weesey for the long 2. Does not fall. And it's rebounded by Collins. This is Moriarty out to Collins. Collins with the pump fake. Goes up with it. Blocked by Edmonds. And she has the ball. Dolphins will look to push right here, but they will have to hold up as the Greyhounds have the numbers to go back. Phelan for 3. Splash.
And that's a welcome sight for the Dolphins. Dana Phelan not shooting at the efficiency level we're accustomed to seeing from her. Knocks one down from well beyond the arc to pull the Dolphins to within 2.
But an answer right back as Moriarty knocks down the 3. And it's back to a 5-point lead.
Greyhounds wasting no time with the answer, and all of a sudden, the pace really beginning to pick up.
Phelan with the ball, gets the screen, potentially from Edmonds. She has it back to Phelan. Phelan with the long 2. It is off the mark, and it's rebounded right there by Davis. Davis to Curran. Curran up for the 2. Gets it to fall. Counted and 1.
That's a strong move to the basket by Curran, floating it up and in, and that's her first points of the game. She had started 0 for 3, but as the leading scorer for this Greyhounds team, you didn't expect her to remain off the ledger for very long. She will head to the line with a chance for one more, and the Greyhounds now lead it by 7.
Largest lead of the game so far for either side. A nice play right there by Curran to get the N1 to fall. She'll look to make the most of this 3-point play and put her team up 8. But off the mark. And another second chance opportunity as Davis gets the rebound. Or excuse me, Shedd gets the rebound. Curran looking to go up with it. Has the size advantage, but cannot take advantage of it. Another second chance opportunity. Misses once again. 3 chances right there for the Greyhounds to get points. This is Phelan now with the ball. Have to switch the camera. Got it down to go, Joe. This is Racky Kane. Inside to Edmonds. Edmonds on the move. Takes advantage and lays it through.
We had such a great view of the second chance, third chance, and everything more that I didn't want to take you out of your rhythm.
Yeah, I completely forgot. I have to do some engineering as well while I'm calling this game.
Yeah, if they didn't make it so difficult for me to access the computer remotely,
you would have done it yourself.
I would do it myself. I would do your camera work for you, and then you could do the replays.
We are all good, though. Appreciate the help regardless, and it's a 5-point lead now once again. That one, it looked like, was blocked on the play by Edmonds, and it will remain with the Greyhounds.
Well, the Dolphins have definitely made things difficult on Assumption, but when they've gotten looks in the paint, one-on-one, off the catch with the ability to go to work, that's where they've done some damage.
And once again, they go inside of the paint. Quick inbound pass to Moriarty, and it's back to a 7-point game.
Yeah, one-on-one, off the catch. They've been good around the basket.
Barnes, meanwhile, trying to force a pass inside, but it throws it out of bounds. Goes back to Assumption.
And just look how much room they were giving Racky Kane there near the top of the arc. Right now, the Dolphins have to find a way to get the Greyhounds to respect their outside shot. The best thing you can do is knock some of those down. Phelan had a good look, couldn't hit from the mid-range. Weesey had a good look from the mid-range and couldn't knock it down. Edmonds has hit a couple. Phelan hit the 3, but it's been a mixed bag for the Dolphins, who so far are shooting a respectable 43%.
And the Dolphins go, after that turnover, they call a timeout. It will be a 30-second going into the media. They trail this game 27-20 with 6:22 to go in this first half. And I think something that they also need to figure out, Joe, as well, is not forcing turnovers right now. They're after a good start in terms of that number. They're winning the turnover battle 8-4, but the biggest difference right now of this game is those second chance opportunities for the Greyhounds, and they're out-rebound the Dolphins as well in this game.
Yeah, on the glass, Assumption right now, out-rebounding CSI 20-6. I had to do a double take, stumbled over my words.
I had to do it too.
Make sure I'm looking at the right column before I share a number like that. But something else that really needs to change if you're the Dolphins in this game, you have to try and force the Greyhounds to shoot it a bit less efficiently. This is a team that we know is great defensively. If they also shoot 50% combined with what we know they can do at the defensive end, they are going to be incredibly tough to beat. And right now, Assumption is shooting 12 of 24 from the field, just 1 of 5 from downtown, but that's not typically where they do most of their damage. You said it, Nick. Points in the paint have been key, 24 combined between the two teams. The difference in the score, 7, Assumption with 6 second chance points.
At last, Dolphins turnover now forces them into a little bit of a press defense. Dolphins getting caught right there as Kane gets the rejection off of Cam.
Well, that's a good job there by Racky Kane, one-on-one at the rim, and Racky has good size around the basket. You can't bully her underneath, and Kane sends that shot back.
She was the only line of defense for the Dolphins on that play. Another rejection, this time from Edmonds. Phelan might have got a piece on that second chance opportunity and a kick ball.
Yeah, I think scramble mode has been where the Greyhounds have been lacking in this game. When they get the ball under the basket, be it off a quick pass or a second chance, they really haven't been able to put those back in very often.
Okay, look right there. Nice job by the Dolphins defense on the inside. Once again, the Greyhounds were going to look into the paint. Good defensive play by Edmonds. Phelan might have got a piece of it on the second chance opportunity. And now the Dolphins have the ball once again. This is Kane on the post. And double dribble.
Yeah, lost that one as she looked to go to work in the post. And we saw it during our highlight package, Nick. Kane is a player who, if left one-on-one with her back to the basket, can make things happen offensively and make them happen quickly.
This is Hanrahan, now passes it back out. Has it once again. It goes somewhere with the ball, now passes it out to Morgan Johnson. Dalla back out. Hanrahan to Johnson. Dalla inside. They look now towards number 24, that being Cam, and she misses, rebounded by the Dolphins. That one rebounded by Nyla Davis. Phelan out to Kane. Barnes now with the ball, gets the screen from Edmonds. Looking to pass it inside to Edmonds. They barely get it. Edmonds takes the mid-range two but misses, and it's rebounded right there by number 22, Moriarty. Hanrahan now passes it out. Johnson with the ball. Johnson on the drive. Might have been tipped right there by Edmonds, and it's Phelan that comes down with the rebound. Phelan now on the drive. She'll pull off for two. Not through. Rebounded by Barnes, and she's fouled underneath the rim.
And we've seen the Dolphins do some good work defensively now these last few possessions. And if you're going to try and slow down the efficiency of this Assumption team, that's what you have to do around the basket. Really challenge shots and make those offensive players work in the low post. Nothing easy inside. If you can then begin to convert some of those defensive rebounds into transition buckets, that changes this game.
Correction on that last play, Joe. It was Davis that came down with the rebound. I saw the one, but did not see the two out in front of Davis's number right there. She comes down with the rebound, was fouled on the play. This is Barnes now with the ball, passes it out to Edmonds. Edmonds to Davis, now to Phelan. Back out to Edmonds. Edmonds loses it on that one, and it's turned it over. And here comes the Greyhounds now with the ball. This is Curran. Curran will pass it out into the inside. This is Collins. Now it's a long-range three from Moriarty off the mark. Offensive rebounded by Collins. This is Hanrahan. No good. Rebounded by Kane.
A lot of second chances in this game for the Greyhounds, and it's hard to believe they only have 6 second chance points.
This is Barnes now with the ball. 3:52 to go in this first half. Davis almost lost the pass towards Edmonds. Now it's Phelan with the ball. And she dribbled it off of her own foot, and it goes towards the Greyhounds.
Well, you mentioned that CSI was winning the turnover battle 8-4 as we came out of that last timeout. It's now 8-7 in terms of turnovers.
And we've spoken to Coach Sarcone about that turnover number in a lot of our games this season that we've called. And the Dolphins force a turnover as we talk about that. It's Phelan that forces it. She has the ball, drives down to the baseline, now looking for somewhere to go, passes it to Davis. Davis now on the drive, goes up with it, and gets the lay-in to fall.
Well, that's good to see off the bench if you're the Dolphins. Nyla Davis going right at the basket and converting inside. CSI going to need more of that.
That three falls right there for Curran. It's now an 8-point lead for Assumption.
Well, the Dolphins have done a good job around the rim since the midway point of the second quarter, but when you collapse that hard and leave shooters open, they can make you pay.
We talked about Curran's numbers as well this season as Barnes is called for the travel.
Those are possessions you can't give away. If you're the Dolphins, ball on the perimeter, Barnes one-on-one, and upon driving, it looked like Phelan was going to be left open in that corner, but the travel negated that opportunity.
Dolphins now with 8 turnovers after talking about just a few moments ago. You mentioned it. It's now a +1 for the Dolphins on the turnover battle when they were +4 just a few moments ago. This is Hanrahan now with the ball, passes it out. This is the Shed. Wants to get back into the inside to Collins, and Racky Kane called for the foul.
That one not necessarily a bad foul, Nick, because it looked like the positioning was there, and that was likely going to be an easy bucket for Collins, who, as I mentioned during the pregame, has averaged double figures off the bench, already 3 for 4 with 6 points.
I'll make a note about something with the fouls in just a moment, Joe, as this is once again Curran now out to Shed, who passes it now to Cam. Cam out to Curran. Gets the screen from Collins. This is Cam onto the inside, trying to force it to Collins, and it goes back to CSI. And what I was going to mention before, Joe, is someone we haven't seen in a few moments has been Kyra Rose. She's been sitting on the bench for a few minutes. She has 2 fouls, keep in mind. She's only played 8 minutes in here in this first half. About 2:19 to go in this first half to go. This is Kane now looking for somewhere to go with it. Passes it out to Davis. Davis to Phelan. Phelan kicks it into the post to Kane. Kane out to Barnes. Barnes for 3. Splash.
Well, there it is, Nick. Defense collapses once again. Barnes left open. They're challenging these Dolphin shooters to make them pay, and that time Barnes does.
Out over here by me at the camera. A wild scramble for the ball, and it's Collins that comes up with it.
I was holding my breath there, Nick.
I was too. Just a little bit too close for comfort here. 8 to go on the shot clock. This is Hanrahan looking for somewhere to go. Passes it to the inside to Cam. Cam with the pull-up jumper, and the post move no good. Rebounded right there by Barnes. Here comes Phelan now with the ball. 1:19 to go in the half. Davis to the inside to Kane. Kane with the step-back jumper, knocks it through.
Nice move there to create the separation by Kane on the step back, and those are the kind of shots you're going to need, as I mentioned earlier in the game. One dribble, create some space, and knock it down.
A short 5-0 run puts the Dolphins back within 3. And the foul is called on Phelan right there with 57.3 to go in the half.
Well, if you're the Dolphins, it looked like Assumption might be able to pull away from you. Just a few minutes ago, you've now pulled it back to within a 1-possession game, and I think that's a spot you're comfortable with entering halftime. If that's where this game remains, you might even have a chance to get even or take the lead.
Big time opportunities, last couple shots for CSI. Inbound pass goes towards Curran. She misses, but another second chance opportunity for the Greyhounds. Hanrahan looking. Long pass to Curran. She's able to hold on to it. 10 to go on the shot clock. Curran to the inside to Collins. Collins over Kane. No good. Ball loose and rebounded. And now CSI with about a 7 or 6 second differential between the game clock and the shot clock. Look to set up something here. Barnes to Phelan. Vicky on the post move. Goes up with it. Is rejected by Collins. Greyhounds can hold for the final shot. Moriarty to Hanrahan. They'll slow it down. They will set up for the final shot of this first half. 10 seconds to go. Hanrahan looking for somewhere to go. Gets the screen. Step back 3 off the mark. And with 1.4 left, the Dolphins will have a chance to shoot the final shot of the half.
The age-old question, Nick, as the statistician, does it count?
Dolphins will not have to make them worry about that, Joe, as they will just dribble it out to end the first half here at the Tank. It's a 30-27 lead for Assumption going into halftime. I believe I will be joined in just a few short moments by CSI women's basketball head coach Nicole Sarcone for the TLC Physical Therapy halftime report. We are joined on the court by CSI women's basketball head coach Nicole Sarcone. And Nicole, it was a back-and-forth first half for your team against this Assumption lineup. What did you like out of that first half? I know the Dolphins right now trying to get a little bit closer in the rebounding matchup, but despite that fact, your team's been within 3. What are you looking forward to in the second half?
Yeah, their rebounds are hurting us a little bit. We got to box out a little bit more and go to the boards. I think they hurt us a little bit in transition offense. We got to get back, slow them down a little bit. Second half, box out and board, get ourselves second opportunities on the offensive side of the floor, and slow them down. We got to be able to slow them down, slow the game down, make them have to work in the half court on offense. We're giving them a lot in transition. They're out, they're quick, they're fast, they can knock down shots, so we have to slow them down.
And in terms of your offense in this first half, what were some of the things that you liked from your offensive side? A lot of mid-range chews falling down for your team. What's been the strategy for your team in that first half, and what are you looking forward to in the second half of trying to keep that offensive pace?
Yeah, I think Dana and Racky in particular did an unbelievable job. Dana got downhill a lot off of screens or on her own by creating, which drew some defenders, and she very smartly found the open man, and Racky too. On pick and rolls, Racky would catch, a help defender would step up, and instead of going up with it, she'd find the open man, and they were knocking them down. So I think Dana and Rack did a great job of creating for us and finding the open man. We just got to limit our turnovers a little bit.
Thank you so much, Nicole Sarcone, and good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
That was CSI women's basketball head coach Nicole Sarcone. Thank her once again for joining us here for the TLC Physical Therapy Halftime Report. When we come back from break, it will be the second half of today's action between the Dolphins and the Greyhounds. Assumption goes into halftime with a 30-27 lead. And with about 2 minutes to go in the half, Joe and I will rejoin you for the first half recap and what we're looking forward to the most in the second half. More to come here from CSI Sportsnet directly here on Flow College.
The NCAA sponsors 90 national championships each year, none of which could happen without officials. There's an urgent need for sports officials across the country, as they are retiring 4 times faster than they are coming in, leaving shortages at all levels of sport. The NCAA recognizes the importance of officiating on the student-athlete experience and is dedicated to the recruitment and retention of new officials for all sports. There are many great reasons to become an official. Stay in shape and get paid to do so. Meet new people and build relationships within a tight-knit community. Give back to the sport you love by creating a fair atmosphere and upholding the integrity of the game. Say yes to officiating. Visit ncaa.org/sayyes-to-officiating for more information on how to get started.
If you want to win in every arena of college life, go D2. Make it yours.
Kettle Black on Staten Island, a top 5 wing joint in America by Food and Wine magazine. Serving daily lunch and dinner at the bar or on the floor. Perfect for family and group parties with top shelf drink and delicious food. From great times with good friends, live sports and watch parties, to Staten Island's hottest nightlife. The Kettle Black features live music and DJs weekly. The Kettle Black features daily and nightly food and drink specials. The best Staten Island has to offer is at the Kettle Black. We'll see you there at the Kettle Black, located on 415 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
Hobra, a taco joint, Staten Island, where we're proud to have shared our family-first spirit with people from throughout New York City and the world. With indoor dining available both at the bar and on the floor. Or step outside for additional seating and an outdoor bar. Serving beer that's crisp, ice cold, and worthy of a day at the beach. Cocktails that explode with flavor. And great food made with the freshest and healthiest ingredients available. Events feature food and drink specials. Live music. And the best of Staten Island nightlife. Your CSI Student ID saves you 10% on your dine-in order at Hobra. Visit us at 412 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
We've learned a lot from him, and we've probably learned more from him than he's learned from us.
I think they're a real important part in my life. I can't describe it. It feels amazing.
Team Impact is a national nonprofit that connects kids living with serious and chronic illness with college athletic teams, forming lifelong bonds and life-changing outcomes.
Give me a break it! Break it!
Can I have a hug? What's your favorite subject?
Math.
When you spread the word about Team Impact, you have the power to change lives.
Sports fans, we cheer on our favorite teams at fields, gyms, arenas, and stadiums. But have you ever wondered what it's like to be a referee? Verbal abuse from fans, parents, and coaches is the #1 reason why many referees are walking away. And they're not being replaced quickly enough by new ones. So put yourself in the official shoes, act with respect, and be officially human.
And we are back here at the tank between the Dolphins and the Greyhounds. Just about 30 seconds to go before tip-off, or I should say the start of the second half here between CSI and Assumption. And Joe, we talked about with Nicole Sarcone into halftime. The Dolphins are out being rebounded in this game 26-14. But despite those numbers, the Dolphins trailed this game just by 3 points heading into the second half.
Well, Nick, I said it when Assumption was 12 of 24 from the field. The Dolphins have to find a way to limit their shooting because against a team that plays so well at the defensive end, you can't afford to have them come into your building and shoot 50% from the field, expecting to come away with the win. How did the Dolphins respond? To end the first half, Assumption hit just one of their last 12.
Yes.
And the Dolphins turned what was a deficit of about 7 or 8 points at that time into a deficit of just 3. So we'll see if they can continue that kind of defensive effort into this third quarter. And if they can, they've shot it pretty well, 44% from the field and 40% from downtown. They have to feel good about their chances of overtaking the Greyhounds if Assumption continues on the shooting trend that they're on.
And it's kind of what we saw in our last broadcast in the men's game where both teams were shooting the ball really well. And you had a feeling that at some point that the shooting numbers were going to go down just a little bit. I like to call it the law of averages, and that kind of happened in that game for CSI, unfortunately. They were able to hold on, of course, for the win. And for Assumption, they ended that first half, as you mentioned, making just one of their last 12 shots. They saw this second half with a little bit of a floater missed right there by Kieran, and it's rebounded. This is now Edmonds with the ball. Dolphins with a 3 here could tie the game. Hit just 2 in that first half. This is Barnes now with it. She had one of those aforementioned 3-pointers. Kane on the post move, pulls up, and she'll go to the free throw line. She's fouled by Moriarty.
Something else we didn't get a chance to touch on when we came back for this third quarter is that what the Dolphins did at the end of that first half, they did it without Kyra Rose out there on the floor, a player who's been such a big part of what this team does at the offensive end. And on the glass, she went to the bench with 2 fouls, had 3 points on 1 of 2, 2 rebounds. She's back out there now.
It was deafening hearing you talk while the free throw was going on, as that one was missed by Kane.
Yeah, you know, what I have to do, Nick, because of the delay with the audio looping back to me, is mute my laptop so that I can't hear you while I'm speaking.
It feels so weird because it's like a pin drop you can hear in the tank, and then I just hear you loud as clear. This is now Davis with the ball. Loose ball now as it's Shed that comes down with it. Now a 2-point lead for the Greyhounds with 9 minutes to go in the third quarter. Cam with it. Gives it up to Curran. Curran. A couple of pump fakes inside to Cam. Cam goes up with it and is rejected by Edmonds. Dolphins with a chance now to tie or take the lead on this possession right here. This is Barnes. Gives it up to Phelan. Phelan thought about the long 3. Gives it up now to Rose. Rose passes it to Edmonds. Edmonds onto the outside. Phelan not able to hold on to it. This is now Rose. Rose again on the drive. And puts up a wild shot, and it's rebounded. And now here comes Davis with the ball. Inside pass to Cam. Cam pulls up the jumper. No good. Rebounded by Barnes. Barnes forcing a pass right there. Turnover forced by Curran. Curran on the drive. Misses it. Offensive rebound, though, by Davis. And she gets the put back.
Well, the Dolphins, for the later portion of that second quarter and early in this third quarter, looked to really shore up their defense around the basket, and they had done that. But they still need to close out those stops with the defensive rebounds. Tough to do in transition. That time it results in 2 more second chance points.
Last 2 possessions, really tough one for CSI. Rose to Barnes. Barnes for 3. Splash.
And if Stitchy Barnes is knocking those shots down, what a huge boost that is for this Dolphins team. 2 big, timely threes in this game already.
Cam now with the ball, gives it up. This is Curran now out to Davis. 1-point lead now for Assumption here in this game. Inside pass to Cam. Cam goes up with it and is once again rejected by Edmonds. If the Dolphins push, they have numbers. Rose on the drive, and she lost it on the way up. It's going back to Assumption.
Well, I said earlier in the game, Nick, that it looked like the Greyhounds had an advantage down around the basket off the catch, and Shania Edmonds has said, forget about that. We've seen a couple of strong defensive plays by her around the rim, a couple of rejections in this game as we got one more look at the 3 by Barnes, and right now the Dolphins are doing good things at both ends of the floor.
Joe Edmonds with 4 blocks now in this game. She's been an inside presence. Pass on the inside to Collins. She passes it out now to Shed. Shed outside to Curran. Curran back inside to Collins. Collins back outside. 3 for Curran. Off the mark. Loose ball picked up by Davis, and another second chance opportunity. Curran up, and she's fouled.
And Davis, who, from the looks of it on my video monitor, is the smallest player on the floor, is skying in and grabbing a lot of these offensive boards. She's been all around the glass.
She's
already 7 rebounds.
Yeah. Listen, 5'6" on the roster, and you're indeed right, Joe. She has been involved in a lot of the rebounds for this Assumption team today, as the first free throw is made by Curran.
7 rebounds in the game. 4 of those have come on the offensive glass.
2 for 2 trip right there for Curran. Back to a 3-point lead for Assumption. And the Dolphins almost with a very, very careless turnover right there. They have to get the ball off the court, though, to avoid the violation. They just get it barely over. This is now Rose with the ball. Rose out to Barnes. Barnes looking for somewhere to go with it. Takes now the mid-range 2 and knocks it through. Barnes starting to heat up.
Well, the reigning ECC Rookie of the Week having a nice game. Barnes on that pull-up showing off her versatility. She's now in double figures.
And you mentioned if she starts knocking down those shots, she's already been off to a great start this year. she could become an even more dangerous player if those continue to fall. Dolphins forced a turnover and then gave it right back. Long range three off the mark. Loose ball. Collins and Edmonds fighting for it, and Edmonds will get the ball as it goes to CSI.
And Nick, I talk about it all the time. How many intangible plays that don't appear on the stat sheet impact the team's chances of winning or losing? How many extra possessions has Davis earned the Greyhounds in this game?
There's been a lot in this one. It feels like Davis has been huge for her team in this one. But for CSI now, a chance to take the lead. The first time, it's been a long time for them. They've been trailing for the majority of this contest. Rose on the drive, keeps with it, goes up with it, misses, offensive rebound, and one counted for Edmonds.
And we saw that from Kyra Rose and our highlights before the game. Shanye Edmonds with the putback off the offensive board, count it, and the foul. Edmonds has been big around the basket at both ends of the floor. Defensively, you mentioned the 4 blocks. Offensively, after a few knockdowns from the mid-range, she has a big score inside, and the Dolphins now have the lead.
A 2-point lead now for CSI in this game. We mentioned it, the Dolphins have been trailing for the majority of this game. They've only been leading for 1 minute and 3 seconds before this lead right here. They now lead by 2 with under 5 to go. Collins, how about that post move work by Collins? She ties the game.
Well, Collins has been under control. She's gone to work quickly off the catch, and that's a matchup that the Greyhounds have had a distinct advantage in.
Kane with the ball, has Collins on her. Looking potentially for a long-range 2. Now goes on the inside, forces it up. And it looks like she'll go to the free throw line.
And that's a good move there by Kane. She got Collins off balance, and though Collins may have an advantage on the low block at the offensive end, when she's forced to defend Racky Kane beyond the free throw line and Kane gets to work off the dribble, that's a very tough assignment for Collins. And Dolphins and Greyhounds tied at 36 as we head to a timeout.
A tie game at 36 apiece with 4:35 to go in this third quarter. And, Joe, I think it's a good time as ever to talk about, of course, this being the first broadcast of the new year. How was your last 48 hours for New Year's Eve and New Year's Day?
I bet you could guess what my last 48 hours were like. On New Year's Eve, I went to sleep nice and early. I might have made it through midnight. I spent a lot of hours coding. It's what I do in my free time.
Yes.
Can't help it. No partying, no New Year's celebrations, always working. I was coding, developed something completely new for my business. Really happy about it. But no celebrations, no fireworks, none of that. Just good old-fashioned hard work. And I was preparing for this game much of the day yesterday, the highlights and the pregame materials. There's a lot of background that goes into these broadcasts.
Yes.
All of that work was done yesterday on New Year's Day. How was your New Year's?
Not bad, not bad. I had a wedding. I think I mentioned that in our last broadcast.
Yes, you did.
I had a wedding on New Year's Eve.
That wedding better last.
Well, was it that one I talked about a while back, or the
No,
one
it
on
was
Super
not.
Bowl?
It was the Super Bowl wedding.
Yes, it was. That's indeed the case. But nonetheless, wedding on Wednesday was very nice. Very long reception, but overall good night. Of course, we got to celebrate the New Year's with that happening. And then, thankfully for me, Joe, yesterday on the drive home, it wasn't a long drive. I think about an hour I got back home. So I was able to catch all the college football action that took place yesterday. You know me, and of course, I know you know this, but a huge college football fan, especially with the college football playoff going on. I did not want to miss a lot of the action. I missed the game on Wednesday, and I did not want to miss the action yesterday.
Yeah, I took in a couple of those games yesterday. One not so good, the Alabama game. The other game between Ole Miss and Georgia, a lot better.
Very, very good game to end that nightcap. The first couple of games were really, really big snooze fests, and I was grateful that last game at least lived up to the hype that it was. Kane's second free throw falls through. The Dolphins back up 2. But the way this game's going, Joe, this game has been living up to the hype so far. We had a thriller the last time you and I called the matchup for the Dolphins women's side. Could be in for potentially another great finish here. Collins rejected, and they're going to get a foul on Kane.
Taking a look at that one on replay, really tough to tell from my vantage point, Nick, but let's get one more look from in close and maybe get some more clarity.
Let's get a look right here as Collins will go to the free throw line.
Yeah, I'm watching it now. For those who don't know, I'm on a 5-second delay.
What do you
That
see,
looked pretty
Joe,
clean,
from that?
Nick.
Okay. That's what I thought, too.
Clean. Yeah, I would be inclined to say that that was a clean block.
But the way the officiating has gone so far in this game as Collins knocks out the 2, I wonder if Nicole Sarcon's going to say Happy New Year to the officials after this one's over. Perhaps if the Dolphins do a comeback.
Oh, I was going with the no comment. Just didn't want to say it out loud.
I was going to say, if the Dolphins come out with the victory, I'm sure she will, but they turn it over as I say that. Here comes the Greyhounds now looking to get back on top in this game. Curran into the inside finds Collins. They have the mismatch inside, and Collins will make that one look easy.
Well, going back to the point very quickly about Nicole wishing the officials Happy New Year, we said it during the first half. If this game's decided by 2, looking back at that shot clock violation in the basket, huge.
That's right now a difference maker of this game. 1 point lead now once again for Assumption. Rose on the drive, gets it a fall. Nice post move work by Rose.
That is a really nice move to finish off the spin, and that's when Kyra Rose is at her best, when she's going downhill at the rim and attacking.
One of the more dangerous players in the conference when she makes those moves as Curran shots off the mark. Long rebound loose, picked up by Collins. And another second chance opportunity. Curran for 3. Again off the mark. Loose ball again. And Hanrahan now comes up with it. Another opportunity for the Greyhounds. Hanrahan on the drive. Looking for someone to go. Passes up to Moriarty. Moriarty to the inside to Collins. Collins once again on the post move. Gets it a fall.
Yeah, Collins really beginning to exploit that matchup in the low post. If they've been able to get her the ball inside, she's been able to make things happen. That being said, the Dolphins have made those entry passes very difficult here in the second half.
Collins now with the only double-figure scorer on the Greyhounds today. 11 points now for her in this game. All those coming off of the bench. 10 to go on the shot clock. Pass to Kane. Turnover forced by Shed. And Shed has 3-on-1 advantage. She goes up with it, misses, but Curran's right there for the lay-in.
Yeah, not much you can do there if you're the Dolphins following the turnover. Stitchy Barnes forced the miss, but nobody there to grab the rebound.
Barnes was hoping for someone to be there with her, but the 3-on-1 advantage for the Greyhounds on that one. They're now back up by 3. This is Rose now with the ball. Rose gets the screen, loose ball, picked up by Edmonds to the outside. Kane for 3. Splash.
Big basket for Racky Kane to get the Dolphins back even. And those are the threes you need to make if you're the Dolphins. The defense conceding that shot, leaving shooters open, and at a time in the game where it looked like Assumption might be starting to build their lead back up again, the Dolphins respond in a big way with the 3 by Racky Kane.
And you've been noticing it as well, Joe, that the Greyhounds are looking towards the inside of the paint. They've been double teaming a lot when the Dolphins get to that entry pass inside. They tipped the pass. The Dolphins were able to get it back. Edmonds getting the ball after Rose lost it and found Kane wide open for that 3. Tie game at 43, and the Dolphins taking a timeout, their second one of this game.
And you've seen it all game long, Nick, as have I. When the Dolphins look to attack the basket, they often draw 4 defenders into the paint. That's not 4 defenders around the ball. It's 4 defenders in the painted area. And when you get that, there's no question you're going to have shooters left open all around the floor, and it's up to the ball handlers to find them. And head coach Nicole Sarcone really praised Racky Kane and Dana Phelan for doing just that in the first half. If CSI can continue to do that for the remainder of this game, you know the open looks will be there. Whether or not they come away with a win could come down to whether or not they knock those shots down.
And meanwhile, Joe, you mentioned the shots being knocked down for the Dolphins. Something that's been up and down for them this season has been their three-point shooting. They're off to a 4-for-7 start in this game, just shooting over 57% in this matchup. Despite being out-rebounded by 12, their three-point shooting is keeping them alive in this matchup.
Yeah, and I think that's something we haven't been able to say much this season, and it doesn't take too many attempts. It doesn't take too many makes. They're just 4 of 7 from downtown. It comes down to those timely three-pointers. We've seen a couple of those from Stitchy Barnes and one more right there from Racky Kane to tie the score.
Greyhounds, meanwhile, on the other side of things, they are 2 of 12 from the three-point line, so they have not been able to get those shots to fall down. 1:44 to go in the third quarter. Moved right there by Davis. Misses. And how about Rose? Just snatches the ball away. Dolphins have numbers. Rose on the drive. Gets the contact. Goes up with it. And she's fouled.
We've said it many times. That's what Kyra Rose does well. Get downhill, attack the basket, get to the free throw line. We know she can finish through contact, but the next best thing, stop the clock and put points up on the board.
She'll have a chance to get the Dolphins back the lead here, going to the free throw line. Assumption head coach Carrie Fair not happy.
Oh, I can hear
the foul call.
I can hear it loud and clear, Nick.
I'm sure you can. A pin drop once again being heard here. They're trying to get a look at who the foul call was called on. It was called on Moriarty. That's her third foul, and I can see why. Carrie Fair in her 29th season is upset with that decision. Don't very often see, Joe, here, you and I calling a coach almost entering their third decade as a head coach of a program.
It's a lot to be said for longevity in the coaching game, especially at this level.
And as a St. John's fan, I won't mention the college that she graduated from, but let's just say not a big fan of Providence. Actually, funny enough, I'll be seeing Providence tomorrow. I'm going to MSG to watch them play St. John's. So
very nice.
Nice little segue into that game for me. Kyra Rose will look to finish the 2 free throws right here. Misses, loose ball, and it's picked up. Don't worry, Joe. I made sure to switch the camera this time around. This is Curran with the ball. Nice up and under by Curran, but she's not able to finish. Loose ball, last touch by Phelan, remains with the Greyhounds. This game has certainly been living up to the hype. Dolphins down as many as 8 points, as you mentioned earlier on. But it's really been mostly back and forth in this game. It's been a good start to the 2026 year for us. Well, it's been a good contest so far. Collins to the outside to Davis. Davis now to Curran. Curran for 3. Off the mark again. Loose ball. Collins gets it. And how about the play right there by Collins? She throws it off of the foot of Kane. It remains in possession of the Greyhounds.
Well, Collins, not just the leading scorer for Assumption, but she has 5 rebounds, creates a second chance right there, and has done a lot of good things in this game beyond just scoring the ball.
She's certainly been the X factor of this game. Foul call before that shot. We'll see who the foul called is on. I believe it might be on Rose. That was indeed on Rose. She went over the screen on that play, and Joe, now that's her 3rd foul of this game. So we'll see if she does check out. I would tend to think that she does. And that's
just a minute
case.
To go in the quarter, I would have said maybe not, but she's headed to the bench.
Dorothy Weesey checks back in. So Rose now with 3 fouls, and you mentioned just a minute to go in this third quarter, 1:05 exactly. Curran to Collins on the inside. Collins goes up with it, misses, and it's tipped, and the Dolphins come down with it. That was Davis almost again grabbing another rebound.
Yep, she was right there.
We've seen Andrew Benedict on the men's side of things with getting rebounds like that. And Davis almost forcing another one right there for her team. Phelan to Kane, under a minute to go. Now about 40 seconds to go in this third quarter. Barnes. Back out to Kane. Kane does have a mismatch if she goes onto the inside. Goes up with it, and she goes to the free throw line.
Yeah, Kane immediately found that mismatch and did drive into some help defense. Collins was there, hands up, but Kane had the smaller defender in front of her and was able to draw the foul.
So Kane will go back to the free throw line here. Her team leading by 1 point, 31.9 to go in this game, in this third quarter. Kane, a leading scorer with 12 points.
If you told me that the Dolphins would shoot 50% from the field, 57% from 3, and hold Assumption to sub 33% from the field, I would guess that the Dolphins might be leading by double digits, but not so.
The rebounding numbers have been the biggest reason why. 35 to 22 on the glass. Kane does go 2 for 2 at the line.
They've attempted 21 more shots than the Dolphins.
Yes. And looking at the second chance points in this game, it's 14 to 3 in favor of Assumption, but that's been the biggest reason why. And if not for Emily Collins in this game, Joe, keep in mind too, Assumption could be down further in this game. She's been a huge factor off the bench. About a 1 second differential between the game clock and the shot clock. Curran back into the inside to Collins. Collins goes up with it, misses. Rebounded by Barnes. Dolphins under 10 seconds to go. Barnes to the inside. Pass right there to Kane. Nice give and go. Gives the Dolphins a 5-point lead. And the Greyhounds will not be able to get a shot before this third quarter ends.
That is a good find there by Francis Torres, locating Kane, cutting in from the opposite baseline. And the Dolphins will take a 5-point lead into the fourth quarter.
You mentioned it, Joe. Francis Torres got the pass right there from Barnes. She found Kane underneath and gets that one to fall. And the Dolphins now go into the fourth quarter with a 48-43 lead in this game. And looking at the numbers too, Joe, in the third quarter, that you mentioned it before with the amount of shots the Greyhounds have taken compared to the Dolphins. This third quarter really is a big testament to what you were mentioning before. The Greyhounds in that third quarter were 5 of 20 in that quarter. The Dolphins, meanwhile, 6 of 8, and they now have a 5-point lead.
Yeah, Nick, and I think that tells a really large part of the story. And not only were there 12 more shots taken by the Greyhounds, but they managed that with the rebounds even. Rebounds in the quarter, 9 for the Dolphins, 9 for the Greyhounds. CSI just extremely efficient. And for Assumption, they had 7 offensive boards. The Dolphins missed just 2 shots. The Greyhounds with 2 defensive rebounds. And, you know, the Dolphins have really done everything that I mentioned in the pregame that they need to do in order to come away with a win. They've shot well above their season shooting numbers in this game. You can check that box. Defensively, they've held Assumption to just 32% shooting. You can check that box. And now one more box to check. Can you close in the fourth quarter? We've seen a lot of the games for these women's basketball team come down to the wire in the recent weeks. We may have one more coming right here.
That certainly could be indeed the case. And how about his meanwhile as well for Edmonds? We talked about it earlier, Joe. She has now 5 blocks in this game, 9 points, 5 rebounds, 5 blocks. A very, very interesting stat line for her. And the Dolphins now looking at have a win on top of that as well. Barnes passes it out to Weesey. Weesey on the drive, looking to force it to Phelan. Phelan just gets it after the tip. Pass inside now to Weesey. Weesey outside to Barnes. Barnes on the drive, loses it, caresses it, and it cannot fall, and rebounded right there by Collins. Push up the court right here. This is Shed. Into the inside. Curran now with it. Misses. Second chance opportunity for Curran. Might have been potentially tipped right there by Kane. The shot did go up, and it's rebounded. And now the Dolphins have it once again.
Yeah, Nick, I think the Greyhounds would benefit from a few more resets off of these offensive rebounds. Those putbacks just have not gone down all game.
Curran, meanwhile, has really been struggling for the floor tonight, Joe. She was a player that you highlighted in our pregame, but shots have not fallen for her. Phelan for 3. Off the mark, rebounded by Collins.
That was a good setup by the Dolphins, and Phelan caught that one well beyond the arc. No hesitation from deep.
Collins for 3. She misses. Loose ball again. It's Davis that comes down with the rebound. This is Curran on the drive, and she'll go to the free throw line.
It really is incredible, the work that Davis has done on the offensive glass. Smallest player out there, no problem. The ball just seems to gravitate to her. And this time they do reset. They get the ball back outside, get going downhill, and get to the free throw line as Curran will head to the stripe for 2.
Certainly would have been a problem if Collins knocked down that 3 as well, Joe, because she's been a force inside of the paint. If she was able to knock down that 3, it would have been really tough for the Dolphins to figure out how do you stop her in this game. As Curran knocks down the first free throw.
Well, taking a look at the numbers for Collins this season,
free throw
she's
misses.
a 37% three-point shooter.
Very tough one to defend, and she remains in the game. She's well earned her minutes in this game coming off of the bench. Phelan to Edmonds. Edmonds out to Barnes. Barnes on the drive. Pull-up jumper. No good. Loose ball, and it's Davis that once again comes up with the rebound. Curran thought about the 3. Moves onto the inside, looking for someone to go, and she goes up and under past Weesey to get the 2, and it's back to a 2-point game.
Well, that's really good patience on that move inside to convert in heavy traffic, and when you have that size advantage, you take full advantage in spots like that.
Curran now with 12 points in this game. And a much-needed basket for her. She's now 4 of 18 in this matchup. Under 8 to go. Weesey passes it out to Barnes. Barnes gets the screen from Edmonds. Barnes goes up with a pull-up jumper. No good. And again, it's Davis that comes down with the rebound. Long pass up the court to Shed, out to Curran, and they'll look to reset. Curran now on the drive, and she gets the easy 2, and this game is once again tied. Timeout Greyhounds.
Well, with Curran heating up, that's a good timeout by Nicole Sarcone. Talk things over with your team and try and figure out how you're going to try and slow things down for the Greyhounds at the defensive end of the floor. CSI led by 5, and we began this quarter. The Greyhounds have now gotten even behind a 5-0 start to quarter number 4. And I think the big concern right now, Nick, is that very often we've seen this Dolphins team go into those offensive lulls where they fail to score for several minutes. You can't afford to see that continue right here. They're without a point for 2:29 now in this fourth quarter. That's something that has to change quickly coming out of this timeout.
And just to reiterate, Joe, the Greyhounds were the one that called the timeout, so they have now 3 remaining. The Dolphins have 2 left. 7:31 to go, and once again, we are tied up. It's now 48-48. 11
Nick,
ties in this game between both sides.
How do you feel about the team on the run calling timeouts after a made basket?
Not
we
a fan.
see it quite often, but I'm always left questioning why.
I'm not a fan of it either.
Yeah, I've just always found that interesting, and a lot of coaches do it, where the team makes a run, they get even, they take the lead, they have the momentum, and then call a timeout in the middle of all that. I've always wondered what the reasoning is behind that.
Maybe it has something to do with stamina. That's maybe the only thing I could think of. But at the same time, you're catching the Dolphins off guard these last couple of possessions, and now you tied the game. Maybe that's the reasoning behind it, but not entirely sure. Just moments away from resuming play with 7:31 to go. Tie game once again. 48 all between these two sides. This is Singer with the ball. He'll bring it up the court. Still no sign of Kyra Rose, but I do see her now at the scorer's table. This is Weesey now with it. Weesey on the drive, looking. That's traveled.
Well, the turnovers are something the Dolphins absolutely have to stay away from in this fourth quarter, especially in a game where they've shot it really well. When they've gotten shots off, they've gone down, especially in the second half. And to give away possessions without even getting a shot up really hurts you, especially in the fourth quarter.
Dolphins went from being +4 in the turnover battle earlier in this game, Joe, to now -2. It's now the Greyhounds' way in that turnover battle, 13-11. Collins to the outside. This is a shot from Moriarty off the mark. Offensive rebounded by Shed, and she gives Assumption back the lead.
Well, Nick, that's one of the rare occasions where those quick putback attempts went in.
And how about that move by Curran, but not able to finish, and Rose comes down with the rebound. Dolphins.
That developed quickly.
Yeah, Dolphins very grateful that they did not give up any points on that turnover right after the made bucket. This is Rose now with it, 6:30 to go in regulation. Singer will take the 3. Off the mark, rebounded by Collins.
Dolphins have gone ice cold now, Nick.
They really can need a bucket late. This is Curran now with it. Curran goes up with it, misses. Collins comes down with the rebound. Second chance once again for the Greyhounds. 6:06 to go. This is Collins, gives it up. Moriarty out to Shed. Shed loses it. Still loose. Still loose. They fight for the ball. Jump ball is called. There is 1 second on the shot clock.
Well, at the very least, if you're the Dolphins, you're going to force a tough shot here.
Well, hopefully we don't have an instance of what we had earlier, Joe. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, if you're the Greyhounds, you'll take it.
They'll certainly take it.
Right now, 2 points difference in the game.
1 second to go on the clock. It's got to be a quick inbound pass. They get it inside. Shot does go off. It did count. It was missed by Moriarty, rebounded by Rose. Rose inside to Edmonds. Edmonds on the post move is fouled.
That's a really good find by Kyra Rose, and a tough shot attempted there by Edmonds, but it does get her to the free throw line. And hopefully, if you're the Dolphins, that can break the scoreless stretch, which is extended over 4 minutes. CSI 0 of 5 from the field. They've been outscored 7-0 here in the fourth quarter. And once again, in just over 4 minutes, they've conceded 4 offensive rebounds to the Greyhounds.
Edmonds missing that first free throw. Dolphins missing some opportunities right here to try to tie this game. She does go 1 for 2. Puts the Dolphins back within a point, 50-49. 5:44 remaining in this game. This is Moriarty, gets double teamed towards half court. Gets it up to Curran. Curran now double teamed, gives it up to Shed. Shed to the inside, back out to Moriarty. Back to Curran for 3. And a huge shot by Curran. She knocks down the triple.
Well, there haven't been many of those for the Greyhounds in this game, but that is a timely three-pointer from Curran and a 4-point lead for Assumption.
A now 4-point lead in this game for the Greyhounds, approaching the 5-minute mark. This is Raki Kane with it on the inside. Goes up with the post move. No good, and it's rebounded by Collins. Davis now up to Curran. Curran gives it up to Collins on the inside. Back to Curran, and she could not hold on to the pass. It's a turnover.
That's a big one for the Greyhounds. The Dolphins within 4, still well within striking distance, but they're still without a field goal here in the fourth quarter, and we're inside of 5 minutes to play.
Dolphins have started the quarter 0 for 6 from the field, as you mentioned, Joe. Still in search of that first make. Phelan on the drive, looks for somewhere to go, passes it, maybe if you want to call it that. 3 for Kane, off the mark, and it's rebounded right there by Shed. Dolphins now 0 of 8 in the quarter. But how about that pass from Davis to Curran? It's off the mark, loose ball picked up by Phelan. Phelan now has it, approaching the 4-minute mark in this game. Gives it up to Singer. Singer now with it. And the Dolphins will call their second to last timeout.
Yeah, we've seen the Dolphins in possession of the ball, taking a lot of time to get into their offensive sets, not really attacking quite as aggressively as we've seen, and I think part of that is Stitchie Barnes not being in the game. I'd assume that's going to change here with this timeout, but if you're the Dolphins, you got to the line 13 times through the first 3 quarters, plus the 2 free throws here in the fourth, so make it 11 through 3. But nonetheless, if you're CSI, you're just trailing by 4, no need to panic. Look to attack the basket. Do what you did well for much of this game. You can also get to the free throw line and chip away. You don't need to settle for the outside shots, but if the Greyhounds are going to continue to give CSI those looks, Nick, I think at some point they're going to have to hit one more big three-pointer if they're going to come away with a win in this game.
You mentioned it, Joe. With the Dolphins needing that timeout, it felt like also just because of the fact that mentioned before, they're 0 of 8 to start the quarter. And I think the good thing for them is that Assumption, despite them now having the lead, they are 4-12 to start this quarter. So both teams really not shooting the ball as efficient to start this fourth. It's a 4-point game, approaching the 4-minute mark. This is Singer now with it. She takes a long range 2, way off the mark. How about that play by Rose to Edmonds? They cannot finish it. It's rebounded by Collins. Rose saving the ball from going out of bounds, and in the process almost assisted Edmonds on that play, but she was just short of that putback. Tip pass by Edmonds, trying to save it. She does, but it goes right back to the Greyhounds. 12 seconds to go on the shot clock. This is Davis with it. Tries to go past Singer. To the outside to Shed. Shed on the drive, goes up with it, and is fouled by Rose. That's her 4th.
And Nick, are you a bit surprised coming out of the timeout not to see Stitchie Barnes back in the game?
Very surprised. She's coming back in now. I was just going to mention that. I am very, very shocked she was not in the game to start.
And coming out of the timeout, Dana Phelan wasn't in either. However, she's just 1 of 7 from the field.
Dolphins 5 now that they have out there are Barnes, Weesey, Edmonds, Rose, and Kane. And as I mentioned before, Rose now has 4 fouls in this game, so she's 1 away from fouling out. Second free throw from Shed is good. It's now a 5-point lead for the Greyhounds. Dolphins still in search of their first field goal make of this quarter. Under 3:30 to go in this game. Barnes to Kane, try to get it up the court. Now up to Barnes, and the half-court defense works. Shed forces the turnover, cannot make it. It's Curran. She gets the and one.
That's a potential backbreaker for the Dolphins right there, Nick. We've seen CSI give the ball away under very sloppy circumstances more than once in this game. And right there, not only do you concede 2 points at the other end to Curran, who's really come on strong in the second half, specifically in this fourth quarter, but they commit the foul and send Curran to the line for one more.
And she makes that and one, now an 8-point game. They went immediately in to that half-court press, and it worked perfectly. Shed forced the turnover, did miss on her shot, but Curran got the offensive rebound and got the and one, and now puts her team back up 8. They've tied their largest lead this game. 3 minutes to go. Barnes kicks it out to Kane. Kane now goes on the drive, goes up with it, and misses. Kane gets the offensive rebound. It's tipped away. Now under 3 minutes to go. Kane in the inside to Edmonds, and Edmonds is fouled by Davis.
Well, there it is once again, Nick, and it's the only way the Dolphins have found to get on the board in this fourth quarter. Get fouled, get to the line, and try and chip away from there, though they did not get fouled in the act of shooting from the looks of things.
They did not.
They'll inbound from the baseline.
0 of 11 now in this quarter, the Dolphins are. Still just the 1 point from the free throw line. This is Rose now with it. She'll take the long range too, and there's the first Dolphins make of this fourth quarter. It's a 6-point game.
That's when you had to have big basket from Kyra Rose.
2:36 to go. Dolphins with a little bit of a half-court press. Pass now to Curran. 57-51 to score. It's Davis now with the ball. The Fanatics trying to get a big stop right here for their team's defense. This pass now to Davis. And that's going to be Kyra Rose's 5th foul.
That's a bad spot to give the 5th foul. Really bad spot to give the 5th.
And as you mentioned, that's a tough one right there, especially on a pass where she was just trying to force a turnover. And now Weesey will come back in. She is also in foul trouble meanwhile, but Rose is now out for the rest of this game. Weesey with 3 fouls re-entering this one. Look at the inbound, the pass to get it to Collins, and Edmonds is now called for the foul. Looking for another block right there, but it's Collins that goes to the free throw line.
And Nick, the way Collins caught that ball, I'm not sure she had to give the foul. You just go up vertically and force Collins to throw that one up at the glass with how much momentum she had carrying her toward the baseline. I don't know if she gets a good look at the basket there from that body position.
Collins knocks down the first free throw, puts her team now up 7. She's been a huge X factor in this game. Curran does lead the team with 20 points, but Collins, for the majority of this game, was the leading scorer for the Greyhounds. She does go 1 for 2. Remains a 7-point deficit for CSI, approaching the 2-minute mark. Pass inside to Weesey. Weesey looking for somewhere to go. Gives it back up to Barnes. Barnes under now 2 minutes to go. Barnes gets the screen from Kane, goes up with it, and makes it a fall. Big one for the Dolphins right there. They're back within 5.
Huge basket, and finishes like that are exactly why I wondered why Stitchie Barnes wasn't in the game coming out of that timeout. She got back in quickly after that.
Dolphins now needing a stop right here. They trail within 5. Pass inside to Collins. Dolphins almost forcing the turnover. This is now Davis. 10 to go on the shot clock. Davis on the drive. And it's hard fouled right there by Phelan. She'll go to the free throw line.
Well, Phelan lost her footing and took Davis down with her. That was an ugly looking sequence there.
Yeah, it looks like right now Phelan got up okay. Davis got up just a little bit gingerly, but she is okay. And she now goes to the line, Joe, for 2 very important free throws with 1:22 to go.
You make 2 of these, and the road back for the Dolphins becomes very difficult.
This is Davis's first free throws of the game. Huge spot right here. As you mentioned, it'll be a tough hill to climb for the Dolphins if Davis does indeed make both of these.
For Assumption in the game, these are free throws 17 and 18. They're 9 of 16 thus far, and with that make, now 10 of 17.
And you mentioned Davis's work on the glass tonight. 10 rebounds for Davis. And in that starting 5, she was the smallest player. In that starting 5, she's listed as 5'6". And she gets both of those free throws to fall. It's a 7-point lead now for the Greyhounds, and they will call a timeout.
And that second free throw makes it a 3-possession lead now for Assumption. And we've said it many times already. This team's calling card coming in from what we could see statistically is their defense, but we spoke about it with men's basketball on the CSI side, and I think a lot of what we said ahead of that game about CSI men's basketball also applies to this Assumption women's basketball team. Tenacity, effort, and all-around good work on the glass has been key for them as well, and we've seen that pay off in a big way in this game. The second chance points, not quite where you'd expect them to be for the amount of offensive rebounds they had, but 20 second chance points, still pretty good. The Dolphins with just 5. They've altered shots around the basket for CSI, and you look at their shooting inside, they're overall shooting right around their season mark, but when they've needed big baskets around the rim, they've found them, especially here in this fourth quarter.
Dolphins will need to go quick in this spot right here, down 7, approaching the 1-minute mark in regulation. Barnes gives this one up to Francis Torres, who gives it up to Phelan. Back out to Barnes. Barnes now gives it up to Kane. Kane on the drive, goes up with it, misses. Francis Torres has it hit off of her. Right now the call was it's Greyhounds ball. Let's see if they changed it, and they do indeed change it to CSI basketball.
I'll tell you, Nick, watching that in live action, I thought Francis Torres swatted it out of bounds.
I thought the same thing with the Dolphins bench, of course. They thought otherwise.
They might be biased. Us, never.
Never. 1 minute to go in regulation. Dolphins still trail within 7. They need a quick basket right here. Phelan, step back, long range 3 off the mark, and it's Davis that once again comes down with the rebound. That's now 11 of this in this game for Davis. And she is fouled by Barnes.
Well, the Dolphins, a lot of what they did well throughout this game, it just disappeared in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And it looks like that's going to be their downfall in this one. But every metric that we had praised through the first 3 in the fourth quarter, they just didn't have it. They didn't shoot well, 2 of 15, did not hit a single three-pointer. We mentioned the timely threes they've hit throughout this game. And you look at the offensive glass, Assumption still with an advantage on the boards in the fourth quarter. You go down the line, and Assumption's had the advantage in just about every facet of the game here in the final period.
Yeah, we mentioned it before the start of this quarter as second free throw was missed. And a quick timeout called by the Dolphins. We talked about at the end of the third quarter, the Dolphins were 6 of 8 in that third quarter. But then they started this quarter 0 for 11. They did not have a make till the 3:30 mark of this fourth quarter. And you mentioned that's right now the biggest reason why they're in this deficit that they are currently in. But you also mentioned it too, the rebounding numbers for the Greyhounds has been a big problem for the majority of this game. The Dolphins, for the most part, were making sure that that wasn't a huge factor. But now late in this one with them down 7, they'll need a lot of big shots late to pull off what would be an incredible comeback.
Yeah, they sure will need some late-game heroics. And this loss, I think, is disappointing in the fact that the fourth quarter was just such a steep decline from where they were throughout the rest of the game. It wasn't as if they had a bit of an off quarter or a slightly below average quarter. It was a 2 of 15 quarter in a game where at one point in the third, you were shooting 50% from the field. So that really stings, especially against a team that comes in 8-1. A win in this game would have been another high-quality victory over an out-of-conference opponent, and it would have had you feeling really good with just one non-conference game to go ahead of a return to conference play later this week. And while we have a few seconds, let's talk about that return to conference play and where I'll be. Officially booked, I'm heading to Buffalo. So I return to Orlando, or from Orlando, for about 3 days. I cover the games at CSI later this week. And then on Friday morning, it's up to Buffalo. We'll call the games at Deauville and Damon, audio only.
Should be some thrilling matchups between the Saints as well. And those two matchups there as Phelan will take the 3 off the mark. It's Kane that comes down with the rebound. Dolphins need to put up a shot, though. They can't really waste too much time. They try to get it back out to Phelan. Phelan kicks it inside to Kane. Kane goes up with it, and she'll go to the free throw line.
Very least that stops the clock.
Yeah.
But yeah, Nick, a lot of time.
Yeah.
A lot of time was wasted there. And the Dolphins clearly looking to Phelan, capable of creating a shot from downtown. It seems like she's also developed that infinite range green light from the coaching staff where she has the ability and the okay to shoot it from anywhere on the floor. But those shots just haven't fallen today, and they haven't fallen for much of the season.
First free throw made right there by Rocky Keene, back to a 6-point game. She goes 2 for 2, 5-point lead. And it'll be the Greyhounds that call their second to last time out.
And Nick, you could argue, and I don't know if there would really be much of an argument, that Dana Phelan connected on what I would consider myself to be the biggest shot of the Division II era for CSI women's basketball. That huge three against Mercy to help send the Dolphins to the conference championship when they got the chance to stick the magnetic CSI Dolphins nameplate onto the bracket that the ECC provided along the sidelines. That was a huge moment for her, one that we captured on video covering that game at Damon. But, you know, I think for her to find that stroke that she had last season, it's going to take reps, and those reps need to be in game and in practice, and she's gotten those looks so far in this game here this afternoon. They just haven't fallen. You mentioned the law of averages. At some point, I think those shots will start to go down.
And they're hoping that they maybe could fall down when, as you mentioned, conference play kicks back in. And I don't think the Dolphins touched it. They didn't. They forced the turnover off the inbound. Perhaps.
I thought Barnes might have gotten fingertips on it.
I thought so, too.
May have to run that one back, Nick.
Yeah. There is still a conversation as to who has the ball right now. And it isn't awarded to the Dolphins. They get the ball back. So, Joe, they have some life.
No question about it. That changes the complexion of this game immediately.
Well, I have the replay. See if I can get it in quickly before they inbound the ball. Yeah, I don't know, Joe. I don't know. Francis Torres, Phelan. The guy got a shot up quickly. Phelan looking for somewhere to go. Back out to Barnes. Dolphins wasting a lot of time, though, here on this possession. Barnes with the spin move play, and it cannot fall in. Davis gets the rebound, and she's fouled.
And it looks like time has finally run out on the Dolphins. Had a brief injection of life with that turnover, but you see Assumption now needing that stop, needing to ensure they don't give up a three. They were glued to the Dolphins on the perimeter, and CSI simply could not find an opening there. Barnes forced to attack, take a tough shot, couldn't convert. And now Assumption can put this one on ice with a couple of free throws. It might not even take any free throws made.
It was a good move by Barnes, too, Joe. She got a nice look underneath. But the ball just rolled out of the rim as Davis does miss the first free throw. Keep in mind the Dolphins do not have any timeouts remaining. The Greyhounds just have one. Does miss the second. That might be beneficiary to the Greyhounds. Clock is running. 5-point differential. Kane goes up with it. She'll shoot the three off the mark, and that will do it. Assumption will take the victory in this game between them and the Dolphins as they win this one 60-55, the final in our game. And Joe, we talked about a rough fourth quarter for the Dolphins shooting-wise. 2 of 18 to finish that quarter for CSI. They got outscored 17-7 in the quarter. And Assumption, trailing by 5 to start the quarter, steals this game away from the Dolphins.
You take a look at what the Dolphins did through the first 3 quarters in this game. And in the first quarter, 7 of 15. The second quarter, 5 of 12. And in the third quarter, you mentioned it not too long ago, 6 of 8. In the fourth quarter, 2 of 18, 0 of 6 from beyond the arc. They scored just 7 points, and they allowed 17. They had not allowed more than 13 points since the first quarter. They held the Greyhounds to just 25 points in the middle 2 quarters and scored 33 of their own. So that's where the Dolphins really built their lead. In the second and in the third, this game just completely got away from them in the fourth. And you can tell, Nick, this Greyhounds team, they've been battle-tested. They went into the fourth quarter down, were not phased. Plenty of credit to them, especially at the defensive end of the floor. They made the Dolphins work extremely hard in that fourth quarter. It's as if they turned it up to another level during the final 10 minutes, and it really showed with the Dolphins shooting. And on the scoreboard, it was a 10-point turnaround. They entered the fourth trailing by 5, and they come into the tank and win by 5 in our first broadcast of 2026.
And I think, if you're looking for something encouraging for this team, Joe, is that these last couple of matches, they've been facing some very tough non-conference opponents. They went to the wire with the AIC. They won that game. A nice win over Pace in their most previous matchup. And they fought with this Greyhounds team tonight. There was a back-and-forth affair for the majority of this game. They were down as many as 8 points at one point, and they went up into this fourth quarter up by 5. But as you mentioned, the shots just were not falling for them in that fourth quarter. And that's something that you can at least maybe try to make sure that doesn't happen again going into your next couple of games. As you mentioned earlier on, too, one more non-conference game for this team before they go back into conference play later on. You will be at those games at DeUville and Damon. But before that, Joe, you and I will be back on the broadcast together here on Tuesday night. Our first game between the Dolphins and Post University, that being the women's side, will be at 5:30. And then on the men's side, the Dolphins will take on Post University at 7:30. All of that action taking place here on Flow College. Joe, any final thoughts?
Yeah, Nick, I think the Dolphins did a lot well in this game, and the final result shouldn't take away from that. I think this team can be pleased with what they did, especially in the second and third quarters. That being said, this is a group that has only been together for about half a season. The Dolphins graduated a lot of players, a lot of talent from last year's team that earned a berth in the ECC championship, and it is going to take some time for these new players to gel and really hit their stride. That being said, there's no better time than this upcoming week. You return to conference play. You have a couple of big games in Buffalo. Those road trips can be a bonding moment for teams, and sometimes it can be for better. Sometimes it could be for worse, depending on how things are going in terms of wins and losses. You'd love to begin the trip up to Buffalo, coming off a win a bit later this week.
Yes. I was very shocked at once that I heard this game was today. I thought this was Saturday at first. Then I was like, oh, wait, it's Friday. But nonetheless, those two games against Post University this upcoming Tuesday at 5:30 for the women's side, 7:30 for the men's side. Be sure to join Joe and I here on the broadcast here on Flow College for those two games. But from all of us here at CSI Sportsnet, thank you for tuning in to tonight's coverage between the Greyhounds and the Dolphins. Greyhounds get the victory in this game. We'll see you back on Tuesday night for a doubleheader between the Dolphins and Post University. Have a good night, folks.